Hi, everybody. Welcome to our first edition of Business Today, where we will be interviewing members who have written articles in our Business Today magazine. If you're not aware of what Business Today is, it is our monthly publication where we feature members and we feature what's going on in the chamber and in our community. So today we're here with Mr. Jeff Newkirk of Understandable Solutions, and he will be talking about his article in this month's issue of Business Today, the top 10 tips for preparing your business for 2021. Hi, Mr. Newkirk. How are you?
Yes, good to be here. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Would you like to tell the audience a bit about yourself?
You bet. So after about 30 years in the corporate world, I decided to strike out on my own and started my own company, Understandable Solutions, business coaching and consulting. So being in the corporate world for so long, I was in financial management, operations management, but I really wanted to have a better opportunity to impact people and businesses, and no better way than to do it in business coaching.
Yeah.
And I love it.
Oh, that's awesome. So tell us a bit more about your thought process when I invited you to write this article for us for January.
Sure. So I think there are a certain number of tasks that as business owners we have to address in order to really have a successful year. And last year, I mean, who could have ever figured out or predicted the pandemic, right?
Yeah,
or figured out what we should do to get out of it. So in 2021, I really believe this can be a great year. I really do. But it's going to take planning, and it's going to have to be intentional. We have to follow through with those plans. And part of that plan has got to be some tasks that we have to address. Yeah. And some of those tasks that I've outlined in the article, I think really can set the stage for a successful year. Yeah. And it's not something that it's maybe we should do. These are things that we absolutely need to do as business owners. Yeah,
well, let's dive in.
Yes.
So I'm not going to start from number one.
Okay.
I'm going to actually go down to number 4, as I am the director of marketing here. And you said update your marketing plan.
Absolutely.
You wrote, update your marketing plan, including your social media presence, website, and funnel campaigns.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit more.
So marketing plan, you need to think about how your product or service is being promoted in the market. How are you pricing your product or service? Is it competitive? Are you covering your costs? And how are you getting your message out? So, digital marketing, social media, that presence is so important these days. Yeah. And I think back to my own business, if you would have asked me 3 years ago, hey, Jeff, how about doing a podcast? I would have been, no way, that's not me. I'm not going to do a podcast. Well, guess what? I have a podcast and I'm on social media all the time. Not necessarily because I love it, although I really do love the podcast, but we have to get our message out there. And now's the time to plan for this year and to really strategize how are you going to get your message out? How are people going to learn about what you can offer? And you have to do it systematically throughout the year. Don't just plan or do it by happenstance. Have a plan associated with it.
So how often do you suggest that businesses create a marketing plan or update their marketing plan? When do you think they should start creating their marketing plan for the new year or the upcoming year?
Mm-hmm. I think it has to be done before the year starts. So I would have suggested having a marketing plan in place before the start of the calendar year. If your fiscal year is January to December, it kind of correlate with your fiscal year. But that said, one thing that I've kind of changed my thought on is an annual plan versus being a little bit more flexible. And this happened with the pandemic. Yeah. Because we could have never predicted what was going to happen, right? Yeah. And even today, we don't know what's going to happen the end of this year. Yeah. Things could change because of the pandemic. Mm-hmm. So I think we need to have an annual plan in place. However, I think it's good to have monthly checks and maybe a short-term quarterly plan so we can always update it as we go.
Yeah. Well, that's good advice. I agree. Because, even right now, so many things have changed for us, despite the marketing plan that I created last year. So you said...
you need to adjust, right?
Yeah, you have to. And you have to be open to adjusting. So Question number 8.
Yes.
Review your risk management plan, including liability insurance as well as errors and omission insurance, if applicable.
Correct. So as an accountant or as a consultant, we need to have errors and omissions insurance. We need to have liability insurance. And it's a way to protect what we do.
Yeah.
And, you know, it would be great to say we don't need that protection, but the truth is we do. And we need to have some kind of a plan in place to make sure that we are protected. And that means getting acquainted with your insurance agent. You know, if you don't have one now, make sure you get one, because they're there to protect your business, all of your hard work. Make sure it's protected.
That's good advice.
And you need to do it at least once a year, so that's why it's in the 10 for 2021.
So this one is number 9.
Okay.
Evaluate your community outreach. Do what you can to positively, impact your community.
So important. You know, we go through the year and we think about our business, right? And how are we going to improve as a business? How are we going to grow the bottom line? How many more sales can we make? But we have to think about the community that we're in, that we work in, that we live in, and how are we going to positively impact our community? And what can we do to make things better? Because it's like the more we give, ultimately, the more we'll get back, right? And it has to be about giving, not about getting. And if we lose sight of where we are located, then we've lost sight of the big picture. And we have to have a plan for it. Again, you can't just wing it.
Yeah.
You have to think about, what things can I do this year that I know will positively impact where I work or where I live, and then go forward and do it.
Yeah, that's so true, especially here. Community is so important to us here at the Chamber.
Absolutely.
Well, Mr. Newkirk, this was a great article, and if you haven't read it, I am encouraging you to pick up an issue of January's Business Today magazine and turn to page 8, where you'll find the top 10 tips for preparing your business for 2021. And it's not too late. It's January. There is still time.
It's never too late.
Never too late. And we can always adjust as we go along. And I know that you have an event coming up here this week at the Chamber. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So I'm going to talk about the 12 for 21. So expanding a little bit on the 10 tasks that we need to have for a successful year, but we're going to talk about 12, the 12 things that we need to do to have a successful and prosperous year for 2021. And again, it has to be intentional. We have to think through all of the things that we need to address in order to have that successful year. And we're going to talk about it on Thursday. I'm looking forward to it.
I know. Well, thank you so much for joining me here today. Thank you for saying yes, because this is so necessary, especially after the year that a lot of people had.
Oh my goodness.
You know,
no question.
a lot of businesses might be wondering, where do I start again? You know, after trying to recover.
How do I start?
How do I start again? Yeah. Oh, how do I start? After last year, and I think this is necessary. So please get yourself a copy of Business Today and turn to page 8. This is a great article, and you know, if you have any questions, please reach out to us, and we could introduce you to Mr. Newkirk. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chaz. Great being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you.